I took a time out and I started a little construction outfit where I was doing decks and siding and taking on jobs. And I ended up getting a sub job, subcontracted to build a deck at a brewery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the brew city, right? Miller's hometown. And an up and coming craft brewery had brought me in and liked the work I was doing and kind of asked me to do some other projects and then asked me to come on full time. So ultimately going from like, hey, can you help build this deck to how do can you put in this tank or this fermenter or can you help brew beer? And I was like, I mean, sure, I can figure it out. Well, it's kind of sparked something in me that, brought up, just a lot of different aspects of things I do love in work, the camaraderie of, sales, I like, the nightlife. I like a lot of different things. And so all of that combined, the ownership of this brewery was like, man, you'd be really good at sales. You're just, I love what you're doing out there and making the beer. You're doing things at our brew pub. And so me and the owner of that brewery went across and opened up about 30 states nationally where we sold our beer. We'd go and we'd meet with a distributor. And this is, the United States, so you have a 3-tier system, right? So you got to sell it to a distributor who then turns around and sells it to your liquor store or your bar, who then sells it to the customer that's going to drink the beer, right? And so he kind of taught me the industry, and we went out and opened up 30 different states across the country where we sold our beer to distributors and then managed those distributors and the fact that, they had inventory at all times, they were priced appropriately, we were giving them promotional support to go and get the placements and get people to drink our products. Through that is where I caught the eye of a California brewery called Ballast Point. Ballast Point's kind of most notable for their IPAs and West Coast craft beer. But what's so interesting about them as an organization is the culture they had and the fact that they sold for $1 billion to Constellation Brands, which is Corona, right, as most people would know it. Corona took a giant bet on, they saw what was happening in craft beer in the 2010 to 2015 era of all these breweries coming in, even here in Charlotte. And they were like, we're going to bet on us having some ownership stake of a craft brewery because we feel that there's going to be about 5 that shake out your Sierra Nevadas, your Sammy Bostons, Boston Lager, things like that. So they bet on Ballast Point and bought it for $1 billion, which upset the industry. All these breweries were like, they're selling for $1 billion. What am I worth? And so, think very small entrepreneurial build to a giant corporate, structure, and they kind of molded. I molded very well because I have some of that business background, and so I then worked for Constellation Brands and proudly, helped them with all sorts of different projects.